Ladies and gentlemen, just another 5 days and the world shall witness one of this year's and hopefully the decade's grandest ceremonies as the United Kingdom gets their new monarch, King Charles III. Novelty will be seen in abundance when it comes to the ceremony, which has been themed on togetherness and inclusivity. For the first time in the history of British coronations, a practicing Hindu shall be playing a crucial role in the Christian ceremony. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak shall be reading out a passage selected by the Archbishop of Canterbury. In addition, female bishops shall also be taking part in the ceremony for the very first time.
If there is a town in Britain that looks all decked up for the coronation, it is here, Windsor. As it would, it's a town that lives around Windsor Castle, which has been home to the royal family for centuries. They are the House of Windsors. You would think on the streets here that there is something to wait for and to look forward to. The welcome at the railway station is just the start, and this is the way just about everyone will get to Windsor. Its parking lots are already closed in anticipation of the rush underway, with more to come. The railway station leaves you in no doubt what the town will offer. Not least its pubs. There is no British celebration that does not begin and often end at the pub. This one is historic. Union Jacks and coronation flags mark the streets all the way up to Windsor Castle, always a huge attraction for tourists from around the world. These days, the shops along these streets are offering all the Charles they can to cash in on the coronation, not always very successfully. More seems on offer by way of the coronation than there are takers for.
The coronation, it's not going to change anything. People are going to come and buy some flags. And the streets will be lined up with people. And everyone, all the coffee shops and sandwich shops will be very busy. I won't be busy.
Are you busy already?
No.
He thinks inflation is hitting his sales too.
Everything is expensive, not cheap. Sab kuch sasta, no महंगा.
It's not just the souvenir shops that have the coronation on display. The icons of Britain's high streets seem to have agreed to promote the coronation flavour. The W.H. Smith store here, Boots presents the King its own way, and Marks and Spencer would of course be excited. Tourists seem less than excited, perhaps just mildly interested.
We are interested in the coronation, but we're here on a cruise, and so we took the opportunity to come to Windsor to see the decorations and what is in Windsor. It's actually quite something.
Among many, it's still the late Queen that's popular. Very many more pose with an image of her than with any of King Charles. The shops are pushing the coronation. Just about everyone in Windsor is, the managers, the authorities, you name it. But in Windsor, as in London, enthusiasm among people seems at the least less than what you might expect.
I think we've been told we're the first ones here. We're doing it for King and country. And we can't wait for the coronation. When King Charles III and his Queen Camilla go to Westminster Abbey and anointed by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, and the presence of the Dean, David Hoyle, Dean of Westminster, and all the congregation, over 2,000 people there. When they come out there as crowned as King and Queen of the United Kingdom, going on the golden coach, leaving Westminster Abbey, coming past here in the gold coach, wearing their crowns, and we'll be waving our flags, red, white and blue. And of course, there'll be about 1 million people on the Mall, and they'll be doing the Mexican wave.
And I'm joined by Sanjay Suri, who's joining us from London. Sanjay, so how's the Josh?
Well, the Josh is high as it could be among the royalists, and that's a lot of British people. A lot of the population here are compulsive royalists. They absolutely adore the royalty. They will be there in huge crowds, waving, cheering, no doubt about that at all. We are seeing a great deal of Josh that is official, and we see local governments and the main government in London, the Westminster government itself, making a great deal of effort to encourage people to hold events and to support the many events happening on the long coronation weekend. Among people, there is a fair bit of division. People are divided, which does mean that there will be people, of course, who are absolute fans of the coronation and can't wait for the big day and to watch everything and to participate in it. But there's a good deal of skepticism around. A lot of people do believe that given the very high costs of living, given the very high cost particularly of food, inflation, as we know, is at a very record high, but within inflation there are of course many indices that measure price rises, and amongst those food is one of the costliest, and that's what hurts most. Given this kind of a price rise, to spend £250 million on an event like this is something people feel, a lot of people certainly do feel, is a bit excessive. That is not to say that they therefore believe that royalty should be done away with, monarchy should be abolished, but a lot of people do have the view that it could have been a simpler event, not quite as grand as what is planned, but of course it's the grandeur that we are all waiting for, and without doubt it will be quite a grand event to view.
Right, and Sanjay, how's the buzz in Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland? Is the hype the same as you see in London?
It's unlikely. It's for one reason, for one factor is that, well, these are the four nations, so to speak, that make up the United Kingdom. There's England, Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland. In Northern Ireland, this is a very divisive issue. You have, of course, the Unionists, who are mostly of the Protestant faith, who in fact will go even more excessively out in support of the coronation and support of royalty than may people in England. That is their politics. They are passionate about the union of Northern Ireland with England and with the Crown, and they will be going really a step further than most people in supporting the coronation.
Right.
Similarly, in Scotland, you have a small number of people who are very compulsively for royalty, who are Conservative Party supporters, royalty supporters. Wales is a little more divided, it's a little more diffuse. The distinction would be perhaps follow the kind of pattern that you see in Britain, where it's more individual variation rather than any overwhelming political compulsion. But certainly there will be a degree of enthusiasm everywhere and a fair degree of skepticism everywhere.
Right, and my final question, Sanjay, I know I ask you this question every time. How are the tabloids treating the entire run-up to the coronation?
Well, for the tabloids, everything matters. We know that the chairs from the earlier coronations have been summoned, and they are being given embroidery at the hands of very particularly chosen craftspeople. They are at it. The chair, every detail of the chair, every detail you might even think of the stitch features in some of the tabloids. They are looking at every single detail. There will be the page boys, and one of them will be William's son, and then there are three friends of his, and they are being interviewed, these little kids, about the big day, what they feel. Just about everyone is on to just about everything. The tabloids in Britain are a triumph, if you like, of detail, or perhaps that is their big fault line, but that's what defines them, that's what keeps them going. They are pursuing just about everything you can possibly think of and more.
Right. Thank you, Sanjay Suri, for getting us the latest from London in the run-up to the coronation.